There is a story which is not out of the ordinary, but yet within it there is extraordinary. A man was once walking to shul in Yerushalayim, and this man walks to shul every day, and it's a couple of blocks away. So as he was walking, there was a car that came alongside and saw that he was walking, stopped, pulled down the window, and asked him, "Could you get in? I'll give you a ride to the shul. I'm going to the same place." So the man who was walking figured, okay, I'll get into the car, gets into the car, and as they're driving together, the man who got into the car asked the person who picked him up, said, "Can I just ask you, what made you pick me up out of all the people who were walking on the street?" And so he said to him, "Look, I want to tell you the following story. This car that I have is something which has been very stressful for me. I was very scared to buy the car because I was scared that I was going to hurt myself, or I was going to hurt someone else, or I was going to damage the car. And so I went to speak to my rabbi, and I asked him advice that I was so scared and so frightened. And he responded to me and he said, make sure that every day you do a good deed, you do a chesed with your car for a fellow Jew. And so every day I look for something that I can do for my fellow Jew with this car, and today it was picking you up and driving you to shul." Rav Moshe of Kovrin, Zechat Tzaddik Levracha, explains that a Jew should consider every day of their life as only having been lived if they do something for someone else. They do a chesed for someone else. And one of the mitzvahs that we find in our parsha, in Parshas Ki Savo, is that of V'halachta bidrachav, that we should walk in the path of Hashem. And of course the question is, well, how do we walk in the ways of Hashem, in the path of Hashem? Well, Hashem doesn't walk. So what does that mean? In Chazal, our rabbis explain to us what it means is that just as Hashem is Rachum, just as Hashem is merciful, so too we should be merciful. Just as Hashem is merciful upon all of us, so too we should be merciful upon others. Just as Hashem does chesed, does kindness for all of us. Chesed that we don't even realize or recognize because it's just so ordinary. Like, for example, the ability to breathe, to open our eyes, to be able to see, to smell, to hear. These are chasadim, kindness that Hashem provides for us every day. But because they're so ordinary, we don't realize just how extraordinary they are. And we only realize if, God forbid, there's something wrong with the way I hear, or there's something wrong with the way I see, then we recognize on a greater and a deeper level just how profound of a chesed is performed for us on a regular basis. So as we are in this time period where we start paying attention a little bit more to everything around us and to our own actions during this month of Elul, let's take a moment each and every day to find something to do for our fellow Jew, to find a chesed, so that we can walk in the path of Hashem. As He does chesed for us, may we do chesed for others, and may we recognize the chasadim, the kindness that Hashem performs for us in our lives on a regular basis. Thank you for listening, and have a good Shabbos.